Afternoon, good people. This is vk3sl and welcome to the Programmatic. And of course, that tune may be familiar to people who listen to the evening program. It's a tune called Lucky Strike, and that was Ken Murray on
I'd love to hear some other tracks from that album.
Yeah, this is his latest album. It's called Frangipani, but Ken's coming for dinner tonight.
Oh, really?
Yes, we're catching up with him for after. Well, we saw him fairly recently at the con. He's now got a professorship at the conservatorium teaching guitar.
Wow.
So he sort of runs the show in the guitar department at the con. Henry sees a lot of him, and of course we went through uni with him. I share long past with Ken, going way back into the 80s.
You should have a lovely evening.
Yeah, it'll be really, really good. And I'll be bringing him in here, and we'll be talking nostalgia and various things. And he's very aware that we use his music as a top and tail for programs.
Well, I'll just do listens.
Yeah. Oh well, look, he won't make it in for the. He won't make it in, unfortunately.
To the program.
To the program, sadly, as much as I'd like. I mean, I'll invite him when I speak to him later on. But we'll be just having dinners and catching up socially. But
do tell him he has a big fan in
Yes, I'll mention that, Frank. Yeah, I've told him about you, and I've told him he knows all about the program. He has heard it before. He knows that it's a bit of an institution of a kind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's all and good.
Oh, that's great. How are you?
Yeah, look, I'm hanging in there. I haven't had the best day. It's sort of trying to just recover. I've had a headache all day, and that's just a part of the concussion, I think.
Yeah, it is. But still, you've got to...
Yeah, you just got to really just look out for symptoms and things. And I did sleep very well last night, so that was good. And
you would have needed to.
Yeah, that's it. After the
brain
big shake-up,
actually kind of repairs itself.
Yes, that's what I've heard. And I imagine after I had the CT scan yesterday, I imagine if there was any bleeding or anything of consequence, they would have let me know.
I was just going to ask you whether you had that.
Yeah.
It's really good that you have.
Oh, they did that straight away because I had blurry vision, and I was it was a really hard knock. I've never had one. It knocked me out. I was out for a little bit, and someone caught me, and then. But yes, it was that was something I just hope never to experience again.
I know.
Yesterday, but yeah, I'm positive. I'm on the front foot, and I'm okay today. On the whole. So
I find as you get old and sort of older, I find I've got to slow down all my reactions and actions.
Yeah, I think it's something.
I used to tend to rush at things a bit.
Yeah, look, I can appreciate that. And that's probably something that's going to be a challenge for me. I am a little bit hypermanic, and yes, slowing down is not something that comes easily, but it'll happen. It'll find its rhythm, I'm sure.
Well, the body actually kicks in. I'm talking about sort of much older than you.
Yeah, sure.
The body kicks in and kind of doesn't let you do things quite as...
Right, fair enough. No, I appreciate it.
It's a sort of self-governing mechanism.
Okay, well, I hope there's a good governor there that keeps everything in check.
Yeah, no, but good news anyway that you're not too bad.
Yeah, thank you for your concern. Yeah, I'm okay. It was just a silly thing to happen. And for those who didn't hear, yesterday I ran into the cargo door. I was in earnest. I was ticking rolls off and marshalling lots of kids onto buses, and I had to... check one roll against another roll, and I had to be quick because we were late, and without realising I ran into a cargo holder in a bus and knocked myself out. So anyhow, it was just a stupid thing to happen, and I take full responsibility for it.
Oh, well,
yeah.
It's just an accident.
Yeah, it's just accidents. Just
not a blame thing.
Yeah, I know. Anyhow, back to the music. We have on the table a recording from... This is a random record off the shelf, and it says in big bold letters on the label, on the Beltona label, it says Charleston. So I don't think that leaves much to the imagination. I think we know what the song's about. I think it's probably an early electric. Beltona records are very interesting. And
it's actually a town in Alabama, isn't it? Or...
I think you're right. It is. Indeed it is. And of course, the big hit came from Charles P. Johnson, who wrote it, I think, originally for piano solo.
Yeah, I'm sure you're right.
And then it sort of took off and became the big dance craze of the mid-1920s, 25, thereon.
I actually learned it in ballroom dancing as a kid in primary school.
Fantastic.
There's a set of steps, obviously.
Yes, indeed. I've seen it danced. And
or moves, as they say these days.
Yeah, and it's very dynamic.
Yeah, it is. It's very energetic indeed.
It is. Lots of cross-lateral movements and arm swaying and feet kicking, and it's
not for the weak or feeble.
No, that's right. Exactly. All right, we'll kick off with it. Charleston, back in the day. I'm vk3sl.
I'm vk3jr.
We have a glitchy-matic. I'm sorry, this is the software that does this because I was using it earlier this morning and I've got to remember to reset it when I come in and do afternoon sessions. I think this might be an acoustic. It sounds like it through the cans, but we'll give it another burl. I'll bring the needle back to the start and we should be in business. And that was a New Orleans dance orchestra on an old Bell Toner record. May have been an early electric, it's hard to tell. But he had some good syncopated vibe in that. And what information can I provide? No, it just says the New Orleans Dance Orchestra on a Bell Toner record. This was an English company, and I think it was Murphy's, who are big music magnates in the British Isles, and this was one of their sort of subdivisions, the Bell Toner Records. And they also made gramophones, and I happen to be, it's project number 2897, which I'm presently working on. Always concurrent projects that really sort of move in the smallest degrees. But one of them is a Bell Toner gramophone. It's a portable gramophone from 1912. It's a very, very early portable, and I've had it under the house for ages. And I was reading about Bell Toner gramophones, and I thought, I do have one. It's been sitting under the house. I'll get it out and have a look. And it happens to be a really rare model. Oh. So it's worth doing up. So I've started on it. I've just started on the cabinet. Beautiful oak cabinet. It's magnificent woodwork.
What have you got to do internally?
Oh, well, it's got some parts missing, unfortunately. It's the motor's working, the spindle goes, the crank's there, and the cabinet works okay. I got some brass screws to replace, but on the whole, that's all right. But it had an unusual system where the reproducer was on a tiny little horn that poked, it sort of backward fired into the cavity of the machine itself.
Is the inside of it as a sort of chamber?
Yeah, that's
sound
it.
Chamber.
Indeed, that was the principle. But I've seen this on a few different machines, and I don't think it was particularly successful. Not very loud, and probably quite noisy. But that
it's very boxy.
Yeah, it probably would be quite boxy. It's a very early machine. But all of the that assembly is missing now, and to try and find a photograph to copy it, because it probably wouldn't be that hard to make this little micro horn, and it's actually attached to the reproducer on a little pivot. And I was only able to find one other photograph online, so I got in touch with some people in a gramophone forum and posted the photos I had just to sort of see if I could seek out the information. And they made it clear to me that it's a very rare machine, and they're sort of looking far and wide to see if they can find another example so they can take measurements so I could make up this part.
Yeah, sure.
I might even be able to get the part 3D printed, which would be a lot easier, and then it would just be a case of perhaps putting some veneer on it to make it look consistent with the cabinet. And mounting the thing with the reproducer, and then it would be complete, more or less, and it would be fun to use. Good one for picnics and such. But it's just nice to rescue a really old gramophone. It was given to me many years ago, and it's just been sitting there waiting to do something. So it happens to be a Beltona machine, and this was a Beltona record. So that's the connection.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah, a little connection there. Yeah. So I mentioned that. Ken's coming over this evening, so I've been looking for records to share with him, and I won't spend long out here, but I'd just like to play a few records for him because of his interest in the guitar. He does a lot of research. He did finish his PhD a few years ago, and I think he's doing a bit of postdoctoral stuff, and he's got other students working in that capacity with him.
What was his thesis on?
It was on Spanish music in London from 1870 to 1920, I think.
Oh, boy.
So we sort of, when he was writing it, there were quite a few, I had some material which I was able to share with him, and we had some really good discussions about it. I had some books with some information that I think he was able to use, and I remember talking with him about it. And it's a fantastic topic, and a lot of it focused on Carmen and the reception of Carmen in London. And Carmen, the opera, of course, was both it was presented in different as a comic opera as well as a serious opera as well. So that
didn't know that.
Yeah, there were many different manifestations of Carmen. It was it had its sort of vaudeville expression as well.
I know that when it was first staged, they hated it.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And poor old Bizet, I think, went to his grave thinking that it was a failure.
Okay, yeah, I imagine there would have been all manner of reactions to it.
Well, I think he got a very singular reaction that it was rubbish.
Yeah, well,
and that's how it was close to the end of his life.
He didn't live that long, did he, Mr.
No, he was very young. Very young, and it's always struck me as being one of the very sad things in music that ironic that the opera that he's arguably probably more produced than any other. It was regarded as, as far as the composer was concerned, people thought it was rubbish.
Well, that's really sad, isn't it?
It is.
It's a tragic situation. There's an early symphony of his as well that it's only sort of been rediscovered fairly recently, and I remember hearing that and thinking, wow, what a remarkable work.
He wrote a lovely symphony in C, I think.
I think that's it. I think that's the one.
That is lovely. And he wrote that very young.
Yeah, he was. He was like a teenager or something when he wrote it.
He was.
Yeah, it's incredible story.
It's lovely, tuneful stuff, isn't it?
It is. Beautifully written. Yeah, so the story of Carmen and Bizet.
And of course, the Pearl Fishers was...
that's just a masterpiece. I love that opera.
I know.
I've seen that a couple of times.
I reckon it's as good as Carmen.
Oh, yeah, it's beautiful. It's got some classic arias. Yes.
The famous Depths of the Temple. Everybody loves that, don't they?
I know, it's just heaven. It's beautiful. We should feature it. We should have a Bizet program, Frank.
Yeah, one Friday night.
We should do that.
Speaking of Friday nights, I spoke to Clint last night.
Oh, right, yes.
And he understands perfectly and is looking forward to hearing his request next week.
See, look, he gave me a couple of Chopin requests, I think, and I've got them on the list there, and so is Mr. Fleming. So we'll wait until next Friday, and then hopefully we'll be back in business and we can play those.
Yeah.
So that's all on the list. So one thing I'm going to share with Ken is this record of I think he's a South African-born, guitarist who went to England quite young and was omnipresent in the 20s in Britain. He played on almost all of those recordings. He was like Max Goldberg, the trumpet player. He played at almost every session. He was a omnipresent session musician.
Oh, boy.
And he did a lot of solo stuff. And he ended up in Australia for a bit in the 30s. But he was a pioneer in playing or recording a lot of Hawaiian music and Spanish music on the guitar, and he was known as a bit of a virtuoso. And but most notably, it's argued that he made the very first electric guitar record ever, and I have it here. It says on the label, it says Spanish electric guitar solo, electric in quotes, electric guitar solo by Len Phillips. I think I looked up some blog discussions about this topic, and some people think there may have been other examples in the same year, around about the same time. So,
what year?
1936.
See, that's way earlier than we talk about Les Paul being first, and in many ways he was a huge trailblazer.
Oh yeah,
but it's a fallacy to say that he had the first electric guitar.
That's right.
Totally.
Yeah, I think there were some country and western artists who were using electrified forms of the guitar. It's not certain as to how electric they were, whether they were using pickups and how it all played out.
Yeah.
But anyhow, this is significant insofar it says electric guitar solo on the label.
Boy.
And I looked it up. It said 1936, but the label is earlier than that. So the label for me, Regal Xylophones of this kind, are 1933-34.
Yeah.
So it probably warrants a bit more investigation as to actually when this was recorded.
Yeah.
But it's an extraordinary record. It really is. It's just so out there. And and I think it's a pickup. I think he's using a very primitive pickup. But there's very, very little information as to what he was doing, how he did it, and so I look forward to sharing this one with Ken.
Yeah.
And it's one of the special records that have landed on the doorstep here over the years. So I'll play it now. So the name of the track, it's his own composition. It's called Mood. What's it called? Let me see. Mood Ruby. Mood Ruby is the name of the song. But really interesting stuff. So let's have a listen to Len Phillips and his solo presentation. Solo guitar by Len Phillis, recorded in the early to mid-1930s. Excuse me.
That was pretty good guitar playing.
Yeah, excellent. He's a fascinating musician, a really competent player, and a very diverse range of styles. When you look at his output, he played in all those dance band records, and particularly he had a good working relationship with Fred Elizalde.
Oh, yes,
and,
yes.
And also,
I love those chord runs there.
Yeah, they're great, aren't they?
Yeah.
And also with Al Boldy, of course. I think they actually did some duets. I'm going to have to investigate him a lot more. I know we did a program on him a long time ago. It might have been during lockdown or before. And but I just can't remember how far we were able to delve at that time. But there's a number of interesting blog presentations looking at his craft, and the story of him ending up in Australia is quite interesting too. He got married, ended up here for a couple of years only, and then moved back to Britain. And then sadly he like the other people in the 28 Club, he fell a victim of the demon drink.
Oh, yes.
And he died at the age of about 50, I think. Yeah, very sad. In fact, the other side of this sort of may be a bit of a testimony to his indulgences. It's called dipsomania.
Oh,
and
what do you call it? I can't think of the right word. Anyway,
yes.
It's a shame.
Yeah, it is. And but look, here he is playing that a song by that name, and again, Spanish electric guitar solo by Len Phillis with Arthur Voss at the piano. This was recorded in London, and it is his own composition. So let's continue. More Len Phillis. Dipsomania, a composition composed and performed by Len Phillis, a guitar player born, I think, in South Africa and spent much time in Europe, in England, and worked extensively as a session player and with a brief period in Australia as well. I was reading that he did actually lead his own band on occasion. And this is such an example. A recording here, this is going to be interesting to hear actually. I just found this online. One of the anthologies lists some of his most notable achievements. And this is one such record. It's a Regal from 1929, and the name of the track is Lay My Head Beneath a Rose. It features Al Boldy with Les Allen and Len Phillis. and his Hawaiian
Oh,
guitar.
boy, very early Al Bowley as well.
Yes, it is indeed. So he had quite a connection. Of course, Al Bowley was a guitar player as well. And in fact, Al Bowley's first recordings are on the guitar alone. So working as a guitar player in bands. And then they realised he could sing. There's a lot of photos of Al Bowley playing the guitar and singing too.
Oh, great.
So anyhow, we'll hear Len Phillips again in this setting with Al Bowley himself. Lay My Head Beneath a Rose is the name of the tune.
Darling, first you said you loved me when you gave your hand and heart. There were roses on your cheeks, love, and we vowed we never would part. One more kiss, for I am going far beyond all earthly woes. Let my grave be like your cheeks, love, covered with a blossom rose. Lay me where sweet flowers blossom, where the dainty lily grows, where the pink and violets mingle. Lay my head beneath a rose.
Consummate musicianship of Al Bowley. Beautiful singing. Interesting to hear him. And
Yeah, the little death cat there was good too.
yeah, it was really well done.
Was very well. It wasn't him. I thought it might have been him, but it's someone else.
Yeah, somebody else. It was Les Allen and Al Bowley doing the vocals, and Mr. Phillips was playing guitar along with other string instruments accompanying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Al Bowley was a South African too, wasn't he?
Yeah. It's interesting to hear Al Bowley before he had his operation. His voice changed quite significantly. He had an operation in the mid-19th, I think around 33, 34.
Really?
And his voice dropped considerably.
Okay.
Yeah, it had a different sort of grain to it. He had nodules on his voice box. It was a very delicate business.
Yeah, I've heard of that. The famous pop singer had it.
Okay.
Elton John had it.
Oh, did he really? Okay. Did it change Elton John's voice?
It took a huskiness away from it that it had.
Okay.
A kind of a raspiness that it was developing.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. So
changed the pitch of his voice.
Yeah. Fascinating. I'll play just one more Len Phillips record, just to sort of set the scene. This one, another dance band track from 1932 with a band under his name. And there's a bit of a preamble here, which I'll just read out. It says that Len Phillips was Britain's top guitarist and banjoist of the 20s and 30s. He appeared on countless dance band recordings as a session player, but made a few nice discs under his own name. This is a stylish rendition of a song which was already rather old when Phillips redid it in 1932 with superb dance band accompaniment. So we'll hear Len Phillips with Edgar Jackson and his dance orchestra, and the name of the song is Japanese Sandman. Have Len Phillips playing Japanese Sandman. Of course, 3 decades later, Les Paul had a huge hit out of Japanese Sandman, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so...
You reckon that was electrified?
I don't think so.
I don't think it was.
Not in that instance. I think he was mic'd close, but I don't think it was electrified. Didn't have that presence which that other record we played at the start did.
No, you're right. It wasn't thick. It wasn't thick enough.
Yeah, no, it's right. There's always a certain sort of, you hear the acoustic sort of, hear the near field resonance and so on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, interesting. Now, another record I'm going to play to Ken, if I get a chance, is this one that's popped up recently. I just think this is absolutely the bee's knees. It's a recording of Joe Venuti and Eddie Lang. One I hadn't heard actually, or not. It didn't linger in my mind. And I listened to it again recently. It's a part of an anthology, and I just can't believe how free these musicians are. This was recorded early. It's back in 1927,
right? And
it's completely trailblazing. No one, not even Lonnie Johnson, no one was doing stuff like this. and it was it's harmonically adventurous. It's incredibly rhythmic. It's a long time before Stefan Grappelli was doing his stuff. And Joe Venuti, I don't think there's any precedent for violin playing of this kind either. It's just truly remarkable record. See what you think. The name of the tune is Going Places. Have Eddie Lang and Joe Venuti. How about that?
Knocks your socks off.
It does. It's trailblazing.
That actually far exceeds anything that Grappelli and
totally.
Reinhardt.
Yeah, it's a completely different. Yeah,
I mean it's in a different league.
Well, it is really. If you would have
you don't even like to compare them, really.
No, I don't think it's fair to compare. I mean, it's a different generation too. He was much older. And Grappelli
Django was missing a couple of fingers.
Well, that's right, and he relied very heavily on his rhythm section, but sort of Eddie Lang does the rhythm and the melody.
Does it all.
Does it all on the one instrument.
And Venuti, that's virtuosic, isn't it?
It is, totally. Yeah, he started off as a classical player, and I think he just embodied the jazz he was hearing around him, and it became in his vernacular. He was able to really jump on board at the same level as the top jazz musicians at that time. And
absolutely.
It's hard to believe that was recorded in 1927.
Yeah, it is.
It's really early in the scheme of things, and the stuff we hear from the Hot Club of France is a decade later, really, of when it became that sort of complex. So, it's a remarkable disc. So that's another one that sort of strikes a chord, and I've got a pile of Les Paul records I'm going to share with Ken when he arrives as well. So there's a few things on the radar, but I hope to persuade him to. It's difficult for him to come out because he lives on the other side of Melbourne. He lives in Moonee Ponds, so it's not an easy thing to zip out and do a show, but maybe we could bring him in by Skype one day or something. So I might put forward that possibility.
Yeah, that would be great if that could happen.
Yeah, it would. Anyhow, so that's happening shortly. But look, the other thing, I was just going through some cylinders, and I realised I haven't played a cylinder for a while.
No.
And I've got this machine, it just sits here waiting to be used. So I put a new battery in the little microphone. I've got a very primitive arrangement here whereby I've just got a little lapel mic mounted inside the mechanical reproducer.
Oh, yeah.
And I used lots of blue tack and different, tried to find ways to sort of...
Hold it there.
Yeah, hold it there and to deal with spurious, resonances and things.
Of course.
And so it's got cotton wool, and also I tried all sorts of materials, and it's sort of it works for the purposes of presenting music from that time. It's by no means archival, and I'm using a 1905 machine. But this disc itself is interesting, and I didn't think it was going to be playable because when I pulled it out of the cylinder box, the little toilet roll box, it was completely white with mould, and I thought, oh, well, that's the end of this one.
Oh.
But then I went to play it, and it sort of works, so might as well give it a go. It's a very early cylinder. It goes back to about 1903 or 102, I think. Yes, around about that time it's announced. So yeah, we can give it a go and see if it all works as well as it did when I just did my little test before. So I've got it on the same mixer as you're using there, Frank. So hopefully we can bring this into. Wait a minute. Let me see if I've got the
military band.
What I'll do is I'll give you the announcement again. It's interesting.
That'd be good.
It's interesting hearing the announcements. But
Daughter of Love, Walls, played by the Edison Military Band.
Okay, we got there, Frank. We made it to the end. And that was a 2-minute wax cylinder from about 1903.
Yeah, it sounded surprisingly good.
Well, it's okay. That was the Edison military band, I think it was. And
Yeah, that's what he said.
yeah, that's right. What else does it tell us? Someone's pasted a note on the thing here. Yes, Daughter of Love Waltz, it says. So, yeah, the sound of a lost era there. Of course, it sounds compressed to house when I put it through the desk, recorded this way. It's probably could be archived and presented with more space, but you get the idea.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's just fun to play one of these every so often. The machine sits here waiting to be used, so it's a worthwhile thing.
What does it use as a stylus or?
Uses really, excuse me, uses a rocking armature with a little sapphire. That's because the cylinder player has a screw track. It tracks at the same speed as the grooves on a screw, which runs parallel to the mandrel.
Oh, okay.
So, and the head assembly is on that screw, is attached to that screw. So it tracks. Theoretically, it would never wear out because the screw is at the same width as the grooves. So there's no sort of pressure on the grooves.
No.
And so this whole carriage runs at the same speed, and as the recording. And so it's a floating stylus with a counter lever, and it has a little very, very fine metal, like a clip that it clips onto a diaphragm, which resonates, and that's how you get your transfer.
Okay, from the movement
from the movement.
Sapphire.
So from the sapphire. Yeah, so the sapphire theoretically could last forever because these are soft wax records, and there's no sort of potentially
equivalent to weight on it.
No weight and no wear. It's an ingenious design.
Yes, that's very good.
Yeah, so theoretically you can play cylinders many, many times over, and they have minimal wear. Yeah. But it's not usually the case. The machines become uncalibrated and all manner of things.
Yes, you've got a lot of other things to worry
other
about.
factors that get in the way, and mould is one of the worst of all. Well, and that record is very mouldy, but it still plays.
Yeah.
But your mould just literally eats the surface away.
Oh, God.
So when you see a white cylinder, it's usually sort of a sign that it's all over.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyhow, that one did work. I'm pleased. I will always make sure I test them. You never know.
That's right.
So we'll keep going.
Have you got many cylinders?
I've got a couple of hundred here.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah, there's lots, and there's quite a few boxes at my folks' place. So I'll bring them across. We should just play them here and there. They're
good fun.
They are fun to play, and they speak of a different time. If I can organise to get an electric pickup, it would be a lot better, I think. But that's for another time. Okay, a lucky dip through the light music pile reveals a Bosworth record.
Oh, yes, the
from,
Bosworth.
Yeah, Bosworth from
England.
From the 5AD library. This one came, courtesy of Mr. J. And we have the West End Celebrity Orchestra and a track called The Phantom Watch. So this should be a bit of fun. Let's get the speed right, get everything in gear, and yes, Bosworth, not Boswell.
No.
So we've got to get the right Bos factor here.
Oh, yeah.
Frank, I'm trying to work out, that's a really familiar tune. It's from the classical repertoire somewhere. I just can't quite put my finger on it, that tune. It's somewhere...
It is familiar.
It is. Oh, it's from a famous work. I just have to see, is it credit the composer? No, it just says by F.W. Marhouse. But it just sounds incredibly familiar to me.
Yeah.
Okay. Other side has got something all over it. Dirt or something. Okay. Well, never mind. We'll leave the other side until I get a chance to clean the disc. There's a pile of jazz records in front of me, and I did a lucky dip, and out comes a recording, which I can't recall ever hearing, of Graham Bell and his Australian band.
Yeah.
So one of the records they made for Parlophone back in the 40s, late 40s, 47, 48. And the name of this one is called Big Walkabout. So I just can't recall ever hearing this disc, so definitely is yearning to be played. Let's have our Australian component. The Bell Band really had a distinctive sound, didn't they? There's a real sort of signature sound, I thought.
It was.
Yeah. Yeah, you're there still?
The temple block made a big difference to them.
Yeah.
They used that, and this very straight rhythm section.
Very straight rhythm section, absolutely. And I think that driving rhythm section was a defining point.
I think so.
And it's just something about the ensemble playing. It's hard to put my finger on, but it is a...
Yeah, it's very distinctive, as you say.
It is. And it's quite different to the sound of the Frank Johnson's band. I've got one of theirs here. Here's one, which had its own sound as well. It's fascinating. Both bands sort of ran concurrently, And Frank Johnson's Fabulous Dixielanders, who I seem to remember they had a residency at the Collingwood Town Hall, I think
you're right.
back in the day. And but
Frank Trainer and these jazz.
That's right.
Preachers.
That's right. He's jazz preachers, indeed. Yeah. There was a big Dixieland revival in Melbourne at that time, and but I think Frank Johnson's band was, to me, the sound had two trumpets, which is unusual. Who was the other guy? Evans. It'll come back to me. Ken Evans. That's right. He played the second trumpet along with Frank Johnson, and they. Frank Johnson wasn't a really strong soloist, and I think that they did a lot of stuff together, and that created a sort of a sound in itself, having them sort of both working and playing around the lead.
Yeah.
And the big player for Frank Johnson was Walker Dyer, the trombone player.
Oh, yeah.
Who was just a larger-than-life personality and has had this huge sound and rough as guts. But just a real tailgate, old school playing, the Kidori tradition, and but sadly, of course, he met his demise when the band had a car accident, and he died, I think, in 1955. But we'll hear this record of Mississippi Mud. Listen to the trombone playing. Listen to Walker. He's such a big personality, and it's so wonderful to hear him. And for me, this really captures the spirit of Frank Johnson's band, who in some way I prefer. I love its raw energy.
Yeah.
So see what you think. Back in 1950 Mumble.
When the sun goes down, the tide goes out, and I can gather round and they all begin to shout. Hey, hey, Uncle Dud, when you beat your feet on the Mississippi Mountain. What a dance do they do, Lordy, I'm telling you. They don't need no band, they can time by clapping their hands. Just happy as a cow, chewing on a cud when the doggies get their feet on the Mississippi Mountain.
There we have Frank Johnson's Fabulous Dixielanders back in early 50s, I think.
That was terrific.
Yeah, it's good fun. Good fun to hear that. And yes, Walker was singing and tromboning there with his characteristic tailgates, wide berth,
Oh, yeah.
hard edge. It's a big sound. Frank Trainer played in a similar way.
Similar way, yeah. Bit wild and lovely.
Yes, that's right. It just had this raucous feel to it. Now, it so happens in the same pile of records, there's another version of the same song, but this is a really famous one from 1928 featuring Frankie Trumbo and his orchestra and with Bix and with Bing. And it's a classic recording of Mississippi Mud. And I think Frank Trumbo actually does the vocals along with Bing Crosby in this.
It's not the one with the Rhythm Boys.
No.
That's another famous one.
That's another famous one recorded in the same session or around about the same time. They released these two concurrently. Yeah.
Sure, I've heard this one. I know the Rhythm Boys one very well.
Yeah, you probably recognise. I have played this before, but it's such a great record. I didn't realise I knew I had a copy of it, but it so happens to be in the same box of records. So let's have another take on Mississippi Mud. I'm vk3sl.
3JR.
Singing in this here record.
Mr. Tram, there's going to be singing presently of a sort.
You know, I ain't heard no singing yet.
You just get a load of this on you.
Lord, oh, is that it?
That's part of it. That's the prelude. Now we sing. When the sun goes down, tide goes out, the darkers gather round and they all begin to shout. Hey, hey, Uncle Doug.
Oh, you mean your old Uncle Doug down on home there with his feet in the mud?
I don't mean Uncle Doug's pap and his feet's really in the mud. And what a dance do they do? Lordy, how I'm telling you, they don't need no band. They keep time by clapping their hands, just as happy as a cow chewing on a cud when the darkies beat their feet on the Mississippi mud. They don't need no band. They keep time by clapping their hands, just as happy as a cow chewing on a cud when the darkies beat the feet.
You done jumped up and got me beating my feet.
As the darkies beat the feet on the Mississippi mud.
There we go. We got there. I'm sorry about the extra percussion on that record.
Yeah.
We've got a problem here with the stylus compliance.
Almost in time.
Yeah, I'm going to have to
Not
deal
quite.
with the weight of this thing. I'm trying a different needle out, and it's just super compliant. And the problem is that unless I get the tracking force exactly right, it just chatters on some records, and that was such a case. And yeah, that was a classic there.
Don't worry, it sounded great.
Oh, gosh, Bing's a great jazz singer, isn't he?
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
That's got I love that timbre that he
I
has.
know, it's just marvellous. It's early Bing too, early January 1928. Oh, fabulous stuff. All right, another one from the same box is oh, this will be known to you. It's Bob Crosby's Bobcats.
Oh, yes.
And March of the Bobcats.
Oh, very famous.
Yeah, this is a big hit, wasn't it? In the
Right.
40s, I don't know, early 50s maybe. I don't. Yeah.
I heard Bing and Bob did one duet.
Right, I have to look it up. I'd love
I
to
can't
hear
remember anything about it.
Oh gosh, that'd be interesting. I'd like to hear it.
I'm pretty sure I'm right. I don't think I dreamt it.
Okay. We'll look it up. We'll have to do our due diligence. I will investigate while we're having a listen to this.
Yeah, sure.
So here we go. I've got the
Back
Stardust
to the
Wave
Bobcat.
Jazz. Yes. Okay, and we have March of the Bobcats, a big hit in the late 40s, up as post-war, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah.
In that trad revival. And the compliance stars was a bit the other way that time. It's a fine balance. But, yeah, we got there. And I just had a quick look up, and indeed, there is a recording of Bing and Bob.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's from the Bing Crosby show. They never made any official recordings together, so this is an off-air performance, but I'm dying to hear this.
Oh, yeah.
It's a track called Let's Do It Again, recorded in 1950, and I think it's announced, so we'll get the vibe.
Perhaps we should slip into a song. I got a little number here called Let's Do It Again. I think it recalls those happy days quite vividly.
We're going to do any special lyrics?
Oh, special lyrics. This whole thing is just replete with special material. We'll personalize this number highly. John Scott, let's do it again, huh, please? We used to rag up the jazz on pianos.
Let's do it again. We used to play, yes, we have no bananas. Let's do it again.
For miles around, folks came to hear the Crosby Jazz Band.
Jack, with those saxophones, we owned our own.
Till the finance company took 'em back.
We played for square dancing out on the farm bench.
Oh, man, didn't we make the joint hum?
Remember the night that Everett drank all the cider in the barn?
And then he fell through the drum.
We were dynamite.
We played for amateur night.
We even played for dog fights if the price was right. We used to do whack-a-do-wop.
Let's do it again. Oh, back in high school we used to be such demons.
Let's do it again. We used to have all the little girls screaming.
Well, they screamed easy then, I guess.
We once poured glue on Mary's seat. She never will forget.
Those kids have all left school behind.
Not Mary. She's stuck there yet.
Over, Marie. The teacher said, now after school you must stay, sirs.
Say, I'd like to meet her again.
fellas thought we was cleaning erasers.
Naive little man.
They didn't know.
You can bet we were the teacher's pet.
At least we tried to bet with everyone we met.
Else school was a great education. Now let's do it again.
We used to date in my roadster together. Ah, do you remember, old chap?
Remember, I always got the rumble seat in bad weather.
Well, look at it. After all, you had a coonskin cap.
So I did.
We were a pair of well-dressed guys, as dapper as a pin.
Why, when we went out, formal then, we even tucked our sweatshirts in.
The cummerbund. Girls used to say that I had Romeo's figure.
What happened?
I wish I had it again.
Well, it's just that your balcony's bigger.
Listening to Hope.
Much bigger than them.
Those were the days, the good old days. We were both the cat's pajamas, to coin a phrase.
We used to get such a kick out of living. Now let's do it again.
Hey, you remember those happy hours at the pool hall?
Man, let's live them again.
Remember when we set fire to the school hall?
Let's do it again.
Remember when we joined the Scouts? For a merit badge we tried.
Just to test our nuts, we tied Everett up.
You should have left him tied. You know, I used to be terribly fond of Everett.
Well, I think Everett's okay.
Give Everett and 2 touchdowns. He's a good fella, though, old Everett.
Say, look, why don't we call him?
Call him?
Yeah, call him today.
You're kidding.
Here's a phone, put a nickel in the slot.
Every nickel I ever had, Everett's got.
We used to both kick the tar out of Everett. Let's do it again. Let's do it. 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 All over again.
Hey, well, that was pretty impressive.
Wasn't it impressive?
It's amazing.
Amazing they can do those patter songs so well.
I know.
Bing was just a master at it.
I know. The timing is just impeccable. They just had that, everything just sits comfortably.
Did a great deal of it with Hope, of course.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you mentioned that because I was riffing through this box while listening to that, and out comes a record of Bing Crosby and Bob Hope.
There you go.
Which I've already queued it up. Chicago Style. And it's from one
I know it, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's from one of the road movies.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah,
Nearly all of the Hope Crosby stuff.
Yeah, it is. Yes, Road to Bali, it says on the label.
Okay.
Yay. So we'll hear this. Bing Crosby and Bob Hope. And classic tune, Chicago Style.
Look out! You ready for this? Who's that coming down the thoroughfare? The sunshine flashing on his ring, bowing left and right and here and there. That's Chester, the trombone king. He gets his shirt straight from Paris, cigarettes from the night. He talks like a highbrow, but he plays Chicago style. He gets his shoes made in London and a real crocodile, but he plays trombone Chicago style, and he sometimes plays sweet. But sweet or hot, he's always got that real gut bucket beat. He got a neat Latin mustache, and the girls love his smile. But he plays trombone Chicago style, a trombone made in Munich, played in Chicago style.
Chicago style. Chicago style. He gets his neckties from Naples and his socks from our guy. Speaks Oxford English, but he plays Chicago style. Wears a stick pin from Rio, are you listening? You can see it for a mile. But he plays trombone, Chicago style. And he sometimes plays sweet Uncle Jake's Weary Blues. But sweet or high, he's always got that real-gut bucket beat. He likes New York for the opera and gets two on the aisle. But he plays trombone, Chicago style. A trombone made in Munich, played in Chicago style. Yes, sir. Hey, hey. A trombone played Chicago style.
Bob Hope and Bing Crosby back in the 1940s. Yeah, they had a fabulous synergy, those two.
They certainly did.
And they made quite a few road movies, didn't they, Frank? I think
several, but 5 or 6, I think.
Yeah.
Morocco and...
That's right.
The Road to Morocco, that was another good duet they did.
Yes, that's true. Well, we'll have to investigate that. I'll need to wind up shortly, but I thought you've sort of inspired me with all this Crosby sort of, all these wonderful recordings from that period. And I realised that... Jamie gave me a couple of years ago now, a whole stack of tapes from the Bing Crosby Society.
Oh, boy.
And someone's gone to the trouble of dubbing off soundtracks from the films. Now, I'll just go and check, and they're in the garage. I'll go and find one of them and see if I can place it soon. So, in the interim, I can play the other side of that record, which is Peggy Lee.
Oh.
Yeah, singing Moonflowers from the film. It's from the same film, From Road to Bali. So,
lovely.
Yeah, while we're listening, I'll see if I can find one of these tapes to ride out with today. So, here we go, Peggy Lee. And always look forward to an opportunity to play a Peggy Lee record.
May bloom
She had a liquid voice, Peggy Lee. Magnificent. Okay, well, Frank.
That is one of the best voices.
Oh, it's just glorious. Just absolutely glorious.
Just a lovely timbre. It's so fetching.
Yes, I know. I know exactly what you mean. It's just has a beautiful presence, and it's not forced, or it has a lovely, naturalness about it.
Draws you in, as you might say.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. Right. Well, we've got here. I don't know if I've got. I retrieved one of the tapes out of the box, and let's see if I've got the. It looks like one of the identifying. Someone's gone to great trouble listing all of the details of the. They're all from Crosby Films.
Right.
Someone's gone to the trouble of finding all of the soundtracks, but I have a feeling that this might be the case. I'm sorry. I'm riffing here because I'm not quite sure how to interpret this, but it says here tape 6, Road to Rio 1948, and then Riding High 1950, Here Comes the Groom 1951, and A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court 1949. So they're the 4 films represented. So there's a range of tracks featuring Crosby and Hope from those movies. So it's I'll play this, just let it ride. See, they're open reel tapes. I believe they came from the Crosby Society. I'm not sure of the circumstances under which they were recorded. They're a little bit muffly, but it's a great initiative, and it's interesting to hear him in the films rather than the commercial releases.
Yeah.
So it's quite authentic from that point of view. So we'll ride with this today, Frank, and should be back tomorrow.
Right, we'll have a wonderful dinner, I'm sure you will.
Yeah, looking forward to catching up with them very much. They're coming in about in an hour, and we'll I'll have a tale to tell, and we'll look forward to reporting on that tomorrow. So all the best to you, Frank. Thank you,
Steve.
and thanks to listeners for your contributions or your listenership.
Indeed,
being there,
indeed.
sharing the love, as one says.
That's it.
Yay! All right, so here we go.
That's VJR going to listening.
Okay, and vk3sl saying cheerio, and we'll queue up the Q-Master 77 marked VG, and I hope it is VG because it hasn't been used for a while. But it should work, hopefully. And we'll hear some Bing and Bob. Oh, wait a minute. There we go.
This time I'll take the money so some gal won't tear it out of you with tears.
Oh, no more. Heart of stone. That's me. Come along.
My body and me, we're happy all day through. You'll always see us laughing like little boys. We're so full of joy. That's why we say to you, we're on our way to Apalachicola, Tell me, boy, where's Apalachicola?
Clever town down south.
Down south?
Yeah.
Well, what are we wearing this long underwear for?
We're quite a target.
Magnolia trees in blossom and a pretty southern gal. It's better than the orange groves in Cucamonga, Cal. We're gonna stay along the Apalachicola Bay. We may stop in Oak Cliff Corner for some harmony grits, or pass through Tallahassee if the weather permits. We're on our way to Apalachicola, Appalachia.
Way down upon the
Swanee
River.
Swanee. Oh, that old Swanee. I can't wait to get down there. See my little old mammy with that load of cotton coming up the road. And there's my sweet old pappy. He's always got a load. Oh, and that Confederate moonlight shines down to make those stills look so swanky. You know that Thanksgiving dinner when they barbecue a Yankee. Carry me back to Virginia.
To the schoolhouse down which I would wind. with my little bitty old ball weevil trudging behind. Come along, Bo. My pa bet on horses that always ran forth. So Ma rented cabins to the folks from up north. Apalachicola, I hear you calling. Apalachicola.
I'm on my way.
Well, let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, we arrive in Rio shortly, and the purser has asked me to announce if you have any questions concerning disembarkation. He'd be glad to answer them for you if you come to his office in the morning. Thank you.
Hey, Mr. Sweeney.
Hello.
We have a problem that is apt to spoil the trip because when we get off the ship, we know we'll never understand the language. We won't be hip.
Oh, now, Miss Andrews, not to do deliberation of your problem. All you do is woo and wobble 'em, which in any language always means a miss. A kiss.
And this?
Da Pontinha.
Hey, amigo. Now we know.
Now they know.
Yes, we know.
Now they know.
Yes, we know.
Now they know.
Supposing you need a vacation, Brazil is the place you should be.
So you can't understand what they're saying, or you can't read a sign that you see.
But you don't have to know the language. With the moon in the sky and a girl in your arms and a look in her eyes.
You stop at the Copacabana with Sugarloaf Mountain in view.
Know the words on the menu mean nothing. You can't ask a soul what to do. But you don't have to know the language. With the moon in the sky and a girl in your arms and a look in her eyes.
That's a good one?
No, this one.
When she smiles your way, what more would you want anyone to say? So you sigh, just sigh.
You don't have to mention that Yankee phrase. Sigh. Perhaps when you end your vacation, you bring back a bit of Brazil.
So you can't understand what she's saying. You need an interpreter still.
But you don't have to know the language.
With the moon in the sky
And a girl in your arms
and a look in her eye.
I know you don't have to know the language if you don't want to say goodbye. With the moon in the sky
And a girl in your arms.
It's the look in her eye.
You don't have to know, you don't have to know. The language isn't necessary, cause the meaning doesn't vary. If you've got the charm it takes, the language isn't necessary. She smiles your way.
What more would you want anyone to say?
So you sigh, just sigh.
You don't that Yankee phrase, aye, aye. Perhaps when you end your vacation, you bring back a bit of Brazil, so you can understand what she's saying. You need an interpreter still, but you don't even have to know the language.
With the moon in the sky and a girl in your arms and a look in her eyes.
Ay, 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 ay. No, you don't have to know the language if you don't want to say goodbye.
Well, free movies. Isn't this pleasant? Outdoors and everything. Mind sitting here in the balcony? Wonder what we're running tonight. Hey, look, honey. Hey, you're going through a tough time and you're letting it get you. That's no way to handle trouble. Look at Max and Gertrude up there on the screen now. Her lease is up, and he's got a big hangover, and her feet are killing her, but there they are up there, floating through the air as if they didn't have a care in the world.
How do you know all this?
What's the next shot?
Why, Mr. Sweeney, that's you and your friends.
That's right. We stopped off in Hollywood for a few days and stole a couple of dollars doing extra work. Oh, Hot Lips, he's really hamming it up, isn't he? Loves to show his teeth. You can't blame him, though. It cost him a pretty penny. You see? No use worrying.
Love is funny, or it's sad, or it's quiet, or it's mad. It's a good thing, or it's bad, but beautiful, beautiful to take a chance. And if you fall, you fall. And I'm thinking I wouldn't mind at all. Love is tearful or it's gay. It's a problem or it's play. It's a heartache either way, but beautiful. And I'm thinking, if you were mine, I'd never let you go. And that would be but beautiful.
The man I love. My dream boy.
Oh, please, honey, not in front of strangers. Why don't you get a barrel and go over the falls, son? We'll check with you.
How do you like this?
And close the door tight.
All the time I thought she was in love with me.
Take it easy, honey.
It doesn't figure. It doesn't figure at all. Oh, I might have known.
McGee. The jockey, of course, passed it on to the horse, and the horse told me. If it's muddy or wet, take the size of your bet. Divide by the size of the shoes. Add the age multiplied by the length of the stride. Providing you win, you can't lose. All a millionaire's money couldn't build a better abode than that someplace on anywhere road. You might have something there, sir. Oh, yes, boss. Come on, perk up. My new address will be someplace, anywhere road. It's the prettiest someplace on anywhere road. Anywhere road. Got the fanciest rooftop made of sky. Independently lucky am I. Don't need a nickel. I feel at home when I'm someplace on anywhere road. Heading for nowhere. Yes. Living up to the vagabond code. And all the millionaires' money couldn't build a better abode than my someplace on anywhere road.
Welcome to the Higgins Greasy Spoon.
What's going on here? What are you doing?
Nothing much. Just seemed to me this shack needed a woman's touch.
Now, look, you're a nice kid, but you can't stake a claim around these diggings. We can take care of ourselves, all right? Now, beat it.
You've been doing a pretty sloppy job of it. You two look like you're in the last stages of berry. What have you been living on, beans?
Why is it all women want to play Florence Nightingale? We've been eating like pigs, haven't we, Whitey?
That's the word. Mm-hmm.
What? Whitey! Oh, come hither! Oh, Princess, you're an angel from heaven. Isn't this a beauty? This nice, brown, luscious roast chicken. We got peas, mashed potatoes, chicken. Where's the dessert?
Dessert yet? I suppose you expected a great big cake with no flour, no baking powder,
Who
no
needs
eggs.
those things? We bake a cake every night here without them, don't we, Whitey?
Yeah, man. Out of sunshine.
Stand by. Boing me, pretty bon, pretty bon, pretty bon, pretty bon. We ought to bake a sunshine cake. Oh, we ought to bake a sunshine cake.
What's that? What's a sunshine cake?
Why don't we get the stuff together and demonstrate how to bake us up a sunshine cake? Mama, we ought to bake a sunshine cake. It does more good than a big thick steak. You start with a tablespoon of trouble. Then add a smile and let it bubble. Up. Oh, we'd ought to bake a sunshine cake. It really isn't so hard to make.
How?
Fresh tears, a pound or two of pleasure. Kind words, you needn't use a measure. Oh, it's not from
Dinner.
a recipe book, and you don't
The chicken.
have to be a good cook or run to the oven book with such a simple dish. All you do is wish, so find out and bake a sunshine cake.
Of course, it may keep your dreams awake.
Friends say there's nothing like the flavor. Really? Oh, it's
Don't
grand.
wait to do your friends a favor.
And for goodness goodness sake, what are we waiting for? Let's make a sunshine cake.
Ladies and gentlemen, due to technical difficulties beyond our control, the program originally scheduled for this time will now be heard. Well, we've got the right ingredients, so let's proceed. Cheerful disposition, that's all we need. Bits of happy poetry, we need a lot. Nothing. Add a little dreaming of the cobweb side. Put on your slippers and light your fire. Add a little feeling, here's a measure cup. And then you give it to the lady, let her stir it up.
Stir it up.
Stir it up.
Stir it up.
No foo-bah.
See, da-da-da-da-da-da.
Long
All
got we're coming round you, nobody heard. Señorita, be my guest. It's got vitamins A, vitamins B.
Vitamins, L-O-V-E.
It's fine if you're fat, finer if you're thin.
Strong if you get a double grin.
Oh, you ought to bake a sunshine cake. Oh, you ought to bake a sunshine cake. Oh, you
I can't bake a sunshine cake. You both better go and jump in the lake.
Oh, for goodness sake, why don't we check on the chicken? We can't live on the sunshine. We ought to bake a sunshine cake. Cake is done, son. Sure now? Oh, it's souffled and frappé. Won't say that rivers flow, day turns to night. But darling, I'd say we've got a sure thing, all right. Won't say it's winter when snow falls from above. But darling, it's a sure thing, we're in love. Come on, we're off to Santa Anita. Get aboard, here we go. The Camptown ladies sing this song, a-doo-dah, a-doo-dah. The Camptown racetrack 9 miles long, oh-doo-dah-day. I came down with my hat caved in, doo-dah, doo-dah, doo-dah. Go back home with a pot full of gin, oh-doo-dah-day. Why run all night, why run all night, all day, why run all day.
I'll bet my money on the bobtail neck, somebody bet on the bay.
Long tail Billy and the big girl horse. They both got across, oh, doo-dah day. The blind horse sticking in the big mud hole, a-doo-dah, a-doo-dah, a-doo-dah. You can't touch the bottom with a 10-foot pole, oh, doo-dah day. Why to run all night, keep running. Why to run all day, why to run all day. Bet your money on the bobtail neck, somebody bet on the bay. Roscoe Bill in the first furlong, doo-dah, doo-dah. Bet him to win and you can't go wrong, amen.
Oh, doo-dah day. I'll bet my money with Dancing Dan.
Doo-dah, doo-dah. We'll win enough money to pay the feed man. He's paying. No change. All gone. Hey.
All night, all day.
I'll bet on the bobtail nag. Oh, doo-dah day. Wouldn't build a better abode than that someplace. Hey, wait for me.
I see America. I discovered America, Pete.
Oh, wait till America discovers you. Ouch.
Just like Mr. Christopher Columbus, huh, Pete? I'm discovering America, huh, Pete?
Yeah, you and old Chris. Here's Christopher Colombo. Meet Christopher Colombo.
Well, how do you do, Chris?
He proved to all the squares that the world was round, and circled round and found the USA. Mr. Christopher Colombo went for a boat ride one fine day. On his day off travel, such a way off.
Oh, there they go again. Don't these actors ever stop making noises?
They're USO people. They sing for soldiers.
Soldiers can shoot back. They've got guns. Oh.
Well, it took him ages, cost a lot of wages. Then from the sea there rose a hill. Though we fly now, landed from the sky, now we get the same old thrill. Oh, Mr. Christopher Colombo thought the world was round. Oh, presto, West, sailed the man Colombo. He found the USA. It's the mighty Louis.
Isabella, really like this fella. Pawned the best fur coat to buy the catapult.
Oh, Mr. Christopher Colombo thought the world was round. Oh, presto, West, sailed the man Colombo.
He found the USA.
Oh, Mr. Christopher Colombo, he really pulled his oar. Oh, glad he got here. Now we have a spot here known as Freedom Shore.
Where the helpless, homeless open up freedom's door. Folks he met here were a healthy set here, wore nothing much except a smile. With me along here in a new sarong here, I'd have been right in style.
Tell it, Bill.
Here comes Curly. You better hold your girlie. Ain't I the one will shut my mouth? Who's this Chris kid? Take a look at this kid. I discovered the South boy.
Oh, Mr. Christopher Colombo really pulled his oar. Oh, glad he got here. Now we have a spot here known as Freedom Shore, where the helpless, homeless open up freedom's door. Where the helpless, homeless open up freedom's
We finally got a home for Therese. What?
Will I ever get the house?
Well, you can't miss, Marcel. Matter of fact, you already got about the best house in the world. Pose in here a minute, kids, and I'll see if I can get through to you. In your heart, you have a playroom to enjoy every toy, every game. Sonny, you've got a house, your own little house, and it's registered in your name. Now take your eyes, why they're the windows, showing you every view in the sun. Honey, you've got a house, well, your own little house, and it's better than anyone. So just keep the outside shined up, oh, and the inside free from gloom. Oh, take care of your house, and you'll wind up, this is a duplex, having fun in every room. And your head, now that's the attic, full of memories and keepsakes to choose. Sonny, you've got a house, man, that's a pre-war house, and it costs just a smile to you. And as long as you can meet that payment, why, you can't lose. Now take your hands, the tools you work with. You'll be thrilled when you build something nice. Hombre, what a house! Why, it's colossal. Let me hear that note again. What a note, what a note. Here, keep this. I got a million of them. Now take your skin. Say that's the paint job, more of a spray job. Lots of sleep helps to keep it aglow. En français, vraiment, vous avez une maison, un petit maison. Dans votre cœur, mes amis. Thank you. You don't have to run from the landlord, though you haven't got a sou. Here you can live like the princes and lords, and your address is Rue de la we take your ears. Now there's the doorway, I got gates, where the songs of the birds come to call. Now you've heard about your house, your own little house, but here comes the best part of all. You
and hang the dreams you want as pictures on the wall.
Are you ready?
Say, don't we always leave them singing?
Yeah. We always leave them singing.
Yeah.
You want to play?
Sure. Can you give me a little pickup there on your typewriter? Very pretty, but a little high for me. You know my limited range.
You kill at 50 inches.
Just hang on around the curve now. Don't get lost. You
I
ready?
brought my scooter.
In the cool, cool, cool of the evening, tell 'em we'll be there. In the cool, cool, cool of the evening, better save a chair. When the party's getting a glow on, singing fills the air. In the shank of the night when the doings are right, well, you can tell 'em we'll be there. Oh, you remember.
You know any more games?
She still loves me. Gentlemen, this little meeting will come to order. Take a letter, Miss Jones. Sue wants a barbecue, Sam wants to boil a ham, Grace wants a bouillabaisse stew.
Clean the kitchen.
Jake wants a weenie baked steak or a layer cake. He'll get a tummy ache too. What's yours? I'll see. We'll build a tent or a teepee. Let the town crier cry. And if it's our recipe, this'll be our reply. In the cool, cool, cool of the evening, tell 'em we'll be there. If you want a couple of deadheads to fracture your affair, I may even sing Pagliacci. Everyone relax and we'll have a few yaks, and you can tell 'em we'll be there. Be seated. A Z went the bumblebee, let's have a jubilee.
When said the prairie hen Sue?
Shaw said the dinosaur.
Where said the grizzly bear?
Under the light of the moon.
How about your brother Jackass? Everyone gaily cries.
Say, are you coming to the fracas?
And over his sexy side.
Carry on. In the cool, cool, cool of the evening.
I tell them we'll be there. In the cool, cool, cool of the evening.
Put some slickum on my hair. Now perhaps I may seem unconscious, but remember, said I, if we're still on our feet and there's something to eat, well, you can tell 'em we'll be there. He'll be there too.
Better be.
Natives are restless tonight.
In Boston?
And no down in the Caribbees, some aborigines rode out to pay me a call. You lucky singo jingo, me lucky too, they cried. I didn't get their lingo, so this is what I replied. In the cool, cool. Remember when we won the cup at Gloucester?
And you lost it in a crap game?
Well, they switched dice on me. Boogity, 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 boog, boog. Which means we lock 'em rare. When the tide is getting a glow on, tom-toms fill the air. Oop-de-boop, if the dinner is free and the dinner ain't me, well, you can tell 'em we'll be there. Be sure and tell 'em we'll be there. Tell 'em we'll be there. If I can get out of bed and put a head on my head, well, you can tell 'em we'll be there.
If you need a new face or a broken dime bass,
Tell 'em we'll be there. Well, we had such a ball, thanks for the use of the hall, and you can tell 'em we'll be there.
That's the silliest song anybody ever did sing.
Oh, but the dance was lovely, wasn't it? So smooth, elegant.
Bon nuit, Papa.
Bon nuit, Susie.
No, stop Louis.
Sing tonight? Oh, I don't feel like singing, Susie. Not tonight.
Hey, Pete,
What?
we always do some singing, don't we?
Okay, all right. Bon nuit, bon nuit. Just dream away. and soon we'll see a bright new day. Be cheerful in your sleepy time prayer. The tearful never get anywhere, so don't despair, bon nuit, my love. Dream of a land where stars above fall in your hand, and someday we'll find this where and when. Bon nuit, bon nuit, till then.
We're busy doing nothing, working the whole day through, trying to find lots of things not to do. We're busy going nowhere, isn't it just a crime? We like to be unhappy, but we never do have the time.
I have to watch the river to see that it doesn't stop, and stick around the rosebuds so they'll know when to pop.
Better keep the crickets cheerful, they're really a solemn bunch. Hustle, bustle,
and only an hour for lunch.
La 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 la.
Shall we proceed?
We're busy doing nothing, working the whole day through, trying to find lots of things not to do. We're busy going nowhere, isn't it just a crime? We'd like to be unhappy, but we never do have the time.
I have to wake the sun up, he's liable to sleep all day. And then inspect the rainbows so they'll be bright and gay.
You must rehearse the songbirds to see that they sing in key.
If you insist.
I just. Hustle, bustle, and never a moment free.
Drop that phone.
We're busy doing nothing, working the whole day through, trying to find lots of things not to do. We're busy going nowhere, isn't it just a crime? We'd like to be unhappy, but we never do have the time.
Going to the game. I have to meet a turtle, I'm teaching him how to swim. Then I have to shine the dewdrops, you know they're looking rather dim.
No.
I told my friend the robin I'd buy him a brand new vest. Hustle, bustle, I wish I could take a rest.
Trying to find lots of things not to do.
Isn't it just a crime?
We'd better make it snappy, there's another hill to climb.
We'd like to be unhappy, but
we never do have.
We never do have the time.
Never do have the time.
Once and for always, let's have it understood. will be together just the way we should. Let's not wait and hope for something more sublime. Don't you know that always isn't too much time? So once and for always, let's say that it's agreed. Wishing days are over. This is all we need. And tonight we'll notify the stars that once and for always, and no less than always, you and I will be in love.
Just truly lovely. And for always, let's have it understood. But I know not thy meaning, sire. Oh, just warming to the heart, but confusing to the mind.
Well, all I'm trying to tell you, honey, is time isn't important if it's a real thing.
Let's not wait and hope for something more sublime. Don't you know? Well, always isn't too much time.
Seems the only thing I brought with me from Connecticut is a little book, an almanac full of useful advice, wise observations, one of which says, love once, but love always, forever. That's what I'm trying to tell you, honey, just like it says in the almanac.
What's an almanac?
Doesn't matter. They all say the same thing.
And for always, let's say that it's agreed. Wishing days are over. This is all we need.
And tonight we'll notify the stars above that once and for always,
and no less than always, you and I will be in Oh, there's nothing to be ashamed of if you stub your toe on the moon. When a dream's at the top of the sky, well, you just have to jump pretty high. But don't give up too soon if you stub your toe on the moon.
Now you take Harry Hadget.
Young Harry Hadget loved making gadgets. Life needs some new things, was his claim. Hoped one or two things might bring fame. This is the last. Here comes the end when you've gadgets to mend. He's the best repairman in town, so there's nothing to be ashamed of if you stub your toe on the moon. Fred?
when a dream's at the top of the sky, well, you just have to jump pretty high, high.
But don't give up.
Hey folks, this is vk3sl. Just a quick postlude to today's program. I've actually got Ken with me in the studio. Hi there, Ken.
Steve.
Yay, hi. And Ken's and Tracy are over tonight, and we're catching up, social catch up. But I just thought, since the program is still riding, we'd just have, if it's okay with you, Ken, just a couple of words about Lucky Strike, what we're listening to. This is the theme music for the program over the last 6-7 years. We've been using this. And,
great, thanks, dude.
And I've enjoyed several different versions, and I just thought, it'd be great to hear something about the story there. Yeah. So,
well, thanks for using the piece, and also for noticing the different versions I've made of it. The name of it was inspired by a close encounter with the lightning strike in suburban Melbourne when I was out house hunting, and maybe the strike wasn't as close as I thought it was, but it was one of those sounds and cracks, and also the brightness of the light in the middle of the day.
Sure.
that really almost knocked me off my feet, and I felt like I lost a bit of hearing for an hour or two. Felt like a little bit of shock afterwards.
Yeah, sure.
So it was this real, sort of awe of the power of the lightning strike, and so I felt in some ways lucky that I hadn't been closer to it.
Yes, absolutely. You probably had a few close encounters with lightning on bushwalks as well, Ken.
Exactly, yeah, some of which I've been on with you and Kate and with Tracy.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, up on the top range, I know a few times when it had been raining and you could see lightning in the distance, it gets a bit concerning.
And there's nowhere to go, really, is there? When you're in the elements like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So so you wrote this back in about 2000?
It's around 2000 and maybe 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And the first version was written to play with Craig Beard on vibraphone.
Yeah, that's the version we typically use. We still use that as a
and that was sort of was, I guess, meant to be a fast melodic tune, but also something with the inspiration of Brazilian music, basically, and so some of the rhythms and I guess the jazzy sort of sound directly derived from Brazilian guitar styles.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's very evident. Yeah. I love the vibe and but it adapts so well. I mean, you did a guitar presentation, I think, on YouTube as well. Was that
maybe a concert in Hong Kong or something.
I think it might have been. We've played that a few times.
So I've played it as a solo in sort of concerts, high school concerts.
Yes.
And then, but also like to bring it out, and collaborate with, percussion, or I've played as a flute and guitar version. So sort of arrange it for different occasions.
Yeah.
And it's, I guess it's probably one of my, the pieces that I've written that's been played the most by me as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. Oh, that's great, Ken. It's just it's nice to get a bit of an insight into it. It's something that's we're all really familiar with, and I just think it's a fantastic piece. I love the way it rollicks along. But so it was about a lightning strike. That's brilliant.
A close encounter with
with lightning.
And, you realise that if you're in the wrong place at that time, there's really nothing you can do.
No,
the power is just
it is.
Incredible.
It's phenomenal. It's just you and the elements, really, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Totally the
case.
Sort
of awe-inspiring in a way. So I may have, probably one of those cases where I'd been working on the idea of the piece.
Yeah.
And then the title came to me.
Yeah, sure.
Due to that incident.
Oh, very good. Excellent. Oh, well, thank you for that. Well, we'll have to catch up on air sometime. I can bring you in via Zoom or Skype in the future if you're around, and be good to hear about your latest venture too, which is doing a lot of bird watching and
pieces inspired by birds.
Yes, and music inspired by bird calls and
yes.
Yeah, and you were saying before music for trumpet, and
I've been doing some pieces with trumpet and guitar.
Yep.
Often when pieces are written inspired by birdsong, you'll find it's violin or flute or piccolo playing the bird-inspired things.
It's so true.
So I was really interested to work with trumpet because they have a lot of timbral variety available with mutes.
Yes.
And also different size trumpets.
Yes.
So we've been exploring a lot of piccolo trumpet, various
fantastic.
mutes. And there's been a really interesting way to sort of conjure up the timbre.
Totally. I mean,
birdsong.
it's a unique way to do it. I think it's fantastic. So have you been writing for like flugelhorns and other types of...
We haven't done as much flugelhorn on this one because we have played together a lot in the past.
Yeah.
And, often Joel, who I play with, goes to the flugelhorn for a really warm sound.
Yeah.
He's often mucking around with the different keyed trumpets, C, D, B flat, depending on the keys. But the piccolo trumpet in particular was good. There's a movement called the olive-backed sunbird.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a, very sort of colourful and active bird up in Queensland, North Queensland, and so the piccolo was perfect for imitating some of the sounds of that.
Okay.
But of course, when we get to the Teresian crow, it's sort of plunger mute.
Okay.
It's really effective.
I love it. Well, it was all sort of like vocal sounds and trumpets were all the go in the early days. You got those jazz musicians who did lots of sort of almost vocalizing with mutes, the plunger mutes and such. Yeah, it had a real sort of, almost a vocal type character. Yep. But it sounds great. What a great project. Fun. So be inspired by nature in that way. So how do you work? Do you just sort of take notes when you're listening to bird calls, or do you? How does it sort of evolve for you?
It depends. I mean, we had a month away travelling in Queensland, so we were just out most days and doing walks and listening to birds, and I'd do some recordings.
Yeah.
And then when we come back at night, I'd sort of come up with some ideas based around the birds, sometimes based around their characters or just my impressions as well.
Yep.
So I was just playing around with sketches, really.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I got back that the pieces took shape a bit more.
Yep, sure.
But then I also was writing for a guitarist from Adelaide. He'd asked me to write 3 pieces, actually inspired by different Brazilian composers who I was familiar with.
Yep.
But because we were looking at birds, they ended up having titles of different birds that we'd seen. So
sure.
It's maybe slightly less direct reference.
Yeah.
But one of the pieces he was inspired by, wanted me to reference, was this piece called Graúna, which means blackbird.
Okay.
Which is a 1920s piece by João Pernambuco, a great Brazilian guitarist.
Okay.
So he was calling pieces after birds back
so
then.
back in the day.
Yeah.
How about that?
So it's a Brazilian blackbird from the 20s.
Yeah, well, there you go. So this is a time-honoured tradition.
Absolutely.
Drawing inspiration. I mean, composers have done it for years. Messiaen made a big thing of it, and
of course.
And Debussy, of course, and this age-old
Beethoven.
Yeah, even Beethoven. That's true. That's so true. Yeah,
I think it's interesting to think about the different ways you can use it. There's you can use the literal quoting of the calls. You can look at the characters of the birds. You can take the calls as more just sort of like raw material for scales and notes and things.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking with the trumpet and guitar pieces, it will sort of weave in some of the recordings that I made on my phone between the movements.
Oh, really? Okay. So you'll have some raw material. Okay.
And to me, it was nice. I think it would be good to use the actual recordings I made.
Yep.
And we'll do also sort of an overture, an introductory movement. That puts all of the calls together.
Yep.
With a bit of playing over the top of that.
Oh, fabulous. Oh, wow. Can't wait to hear that. That'll be really good. Yay. Well, you have to come back and tell us more about it.
Yeah,
I think it's a marvellous project. Yes, well, it's good to hear about the twitching. Is that right?
Yeah, I guess so. Bird watching, twitching. But as we were saying before, it's really about the way it draws you into the nature, I think,
and deep listening and slowing down and just being connected with the seasons and all of the subtle sort of time and place stuff, I suppose.
Exactly.
Yeah. Marvellous.
Great.
Good one. Thank you, Ken.
Yeah,
I appreciate that, mate.
Thanks,
it's really good to catch up.
All right.
And we'll go back inside now, but just wanted to touch base, and I'll play this on a future program so we can, and then we'll maybe hear some of bring in some tracks.
Yes, well, they'll be recorded later this year, so definitely pass those on when they're done.
That'd be terrific. Thank you so much.
Right,
Alrighty,
thanks,
well,
Steve.
no worries at all. We'll finish up with we'll just play Lucky Strike again.
Great.
We'll have another Another innings. And, we'll follow on. We've got your CD, Frangipani, of course, as well.
Great.
So, that was the latest.
Yeah.
And Lucky Strikers number 12 on here. Marvellous.
Great.
Thanks so much, Ken.
Thanks,
Catch
Steve.
you soon. Cheers
See
for
ya.
now. Bye.